Now, when I'm not sailing, I'm a sociologist here at the business school at the University of Michigan, so I actually do have a real job. And we have a name for this. We call it generalized reciprocity, very different from direct reciprocity. You know, you help me and I help you. Rather, generalized reciprocity is that you help me. I feel grateful. I pay it forward to help a third person who feels grateful, pays it forward, and helps a fourth. Gratitude drives the process. Now, if you talk to evolutionary biologists or economists, they will tell you that I am completely out to lunch. Gratitude has nothing to do with it. In fact, they say that paying it forward out of gratitude is a misdirected act of gratitude. If you're grateful, pay back the person who helped you. Why would you ever pay it forward and help someone who didn't help you? And so they have a different theory, a different explanation about why you might help someone who didn't help you, why you might appear to be paying it forward, but your motivation is really quite different. It all has to do with your reputation. You're motivated by your reputation. So I might help you because I know all of you are watching, and all of you are more likely to help me if I appear to be a generous person. And you know, there's some truth to that. We are more likely to help somebody who's generous than someone who's stingy. And in a situation like that, we have what we call reputational incentives. We might be concerned about our reputation, and that might be one reason why we help other people. So we have two competing explanations. We have gratitude and we have reputation. Which one is it? There's evidence on both sides. Now, amazingly, no one ever put both of these into the same study and run a horse race. One horse is gratitude, the other horse is reputation. So a colleague and I designed this study. We collected data on 44,000 decisions to help or not help. And we decided we would just run a fair race and report the results. And the results are kind of interesting. Both horses crossed the finish line, but gratitude wins by 10 lengths. Gratitude is the stronger and longer lasting effect. Now you might find that interesting, but maybe a little academic. Is there a way to create generalized reciprocity? Well, there is, and it's called the Reciprocity Ring. It's an activity that my wife and I created about 15 years ago. It's a structured, guided process of asking for and giving help. About 30,000 people around the world have participated. And if you participated, you'll be asked to make a request for something that you needed. But you spend most of your time focusing on other people and helping them meet their requests, and they'd be doing the same for you. Now, people ask for all kinds of things. Here's one. My request is to see a Bengal tiger in the wild. Now, this request was made by a banker from New Delhi, India, who was here at the business school in one of our programs, and I was running the Reciprocity Ring. He was a banker by profession, but his real love and passion was nature, and this is what he always wanted. When I heard this, I said, man, he's getting no help whatsoever. He got more help that day than anyone else. Somebody knew somebody who led safaris. Somebody knew somebody who had a game preserve, and because of a contact that was made that day in the Reciprocity Ring, he was in the right place at the right time to see a Bengal tiger in the wild. This next one was made by a PhD, MD scientist in one of the large pharmaceutical companies. They'd invited me to come in and run a ring for one of the drug development teams. I'm about to pay an outside vendor $50,000 to synthesize a strain of the PCS alkaloid. I had no idea what he was talking about. So I looked it up, and what it means is that alkaloids come from plants and can be used to make drugs. Well, somebody else in the group that said, he said, hey, I had no idea you had that need. I have slack capacity in my lab. I could slot you in next week and do it for free. You'll save $50,000, and our company will save $50,000. Now, this last one was made by Avinash Raj. He's pictured on the right. Avinash is a young entrepreneur from Toronto, and he made a request on behalf of his company. His social and business mission is to increase the wealth and recognition of artisans in India by introducing their products to the high-end North American retail market. His holiday line was coming out, and he made this request. He's looking for media and retail contacts. Well, it turned out that somebody else in the Reciprocity Ring that day knew the product and innovation manager at Holt Renfrew. Holt is the high-end retailer in Canada. An introduction was made. Avinash presented his products, and they met every one of their criteria. 100% handmade, traditional with a history and a story behind it, fair trade, and so forth. Now, we've learned a lot from the 30,000 people who have participated in the Reciprocity Ring. One thing we've learned is that generalized reciprocity is a paradox. When we first started doing this, I thought that giving was going to be the problem. Getting people to help was going to be the problem. That's not true. Generosity isn't the problem. Most people are willing to help. The real problem is getting people to ask for what they need. A lot of reasons why we don't ask, and they're not very good reasons. We might not ask because we feel, we don't know how to make a request. Well, we can learn how to make a request. In fact, we provide training on how you make a well-formulated request. Sometimes we don't ask because, we think other people will think that we are incompetent. But research shows that if you ask, you will be perceived to be more competent. Smart people ask for what they need. And sometimes we don't ask because we underestimate other people's willingness and ability to help. But we know that generosity is not the problem. Most people are willing and able to help. So giving and receiving are two parts of a cycle. Without receiving, there's no giving. Without giving, there's no receiving. And nothing happens unless there's a request. The request is the catalyst. The request is the key to the whole process. Requests get the whole process in motion.